Right, welcome to a kind of a review video and fitting guide, not really a fitting guide, but a review of the SPA Turbo Inlet Manifold. Now, if you've got a Passat or an Audi A4, maybe an Audi A6 in fact, any of the longitudinal engines that you found with the 20 valve turbo, then this is basically a bolt-on upgrade that you can get for your car. Although, when you'll see, my car is a little bit different because it's a Mark V Golf with a 20 valve turbo with the Passat style inlet manifold. So a few anomalies on there, but still it makes no difference because I had my new intercooler setup made with the Passat center feed inlet manifold. And all I'm doing now is upgrading that to the SPA Turbo Inlet Manifold. And I'll kind of tell you why and hopefully show you why I think it's better. Here we go. Right, so scouring the internet, looking for upgrades for the Passat longitudinal inlet manifold. Now, there are three different options that you can buy. You can buy the SEM Motorsport inlet manifold, which is about as rare as rocking horse poo. If you can ever find one, they are super expensive and they will go straight away. Next one is the P Motorsport inlet manifold, which is available, I believe, from Europe. And this is a very nice unit. Comes a little bit more expensive than the SPA Turbo. Now, this is a cast manifold, and it only costs around about £450 to the UK. It's $350, I think it was, that cost me, but then obviously I had shipping to the UK and I had import duty, so around about £450. But for an item that is a direct swap, so if you've got a Passat or an A4, you're literally just going to bolt this on and off with no other changes. So within this kit, of course, you get the cast inlet manifold. You get all the fittings that you should ever need for fitting your turbo manifold. You get a fuel rail. I've added the AN fittings on there myself, and then you get this coolant pipe that runs underneath the inlet manifold to replace that standard VW metal pipe. Now, as I said, my setup's a little bit unconventional. We have, as you can see here, it's a Mark V Golf with a 20 valve turbo. Now, of course, this never came from factory. It's not an option available. Very easy to do. Engine mounts bolt exactly as they would. It basically drops straight in, and it's such an easy conversion. The hardest thing is probably the wiring, like any conversion. But to be honest, I run a fuel tech, so it was just plug and play. Anyway, why have I decided to change this inlet manifold? The reason we are changing it is because I found this inlet manifold so cheap. I wasn't going to buy another one. As we said, you get the SEM ones, you can never get hold of. The P Motorsport one was a little bit out my price range for the moment, but the SPA Turbo one was in the money range, and also, if you need it, PayPal, paying free. I mean, you've got no excuse not to do it then. Of course, just laying it on top at the moment, just to give you a kind of comparison. Now, not only is the SPA Turbo manifold, the runners are for a large port head. We're going to have to do a little phenolic gasket transition plate for that. That's no issue. But the main thing is, those runners are so much bigger. I've only gone for the 4 injectors because I run 4 1700cc injectors, which is more than enough for me. But if you want to run 8 sets of injectors, you can do. There's the option for that. I don't need it, so I didn't buy it. Standard throttle body will bolt directly onto there. You can also buy a version with a larger throttle body if you want, but for the moment I am just going to be running what I've got. That is more than enough. But again, as I was saying, the main reason I've bought this, you can see the difference from the throttle body to the plenums. That much. Throttle body to the plenums, I mean, it's the size of my hand. The air has got so much better chance of going to 2, 3 and 4, and of course that air will still go to number 1, but I believe that the airflow on this one is so much greater than this one. Flipped it over, just wanted to show you the bottom side of this. Now, as you can see, large port. Now, for $350, it is still pretty good. The only thing I'm going to say is it's not perfect there, and it's not perfect here. But I am going to put the gasket on here, and I am going to match port as well. So we are going to solve this, because I've got to use the porter on the Phalonic gasket anyway, so I will be tidying those up anyway. So underneath we've got our inlet temperature sensor, again stock, bolts in place. We've got our vacuum hose that goes to the brake servo, again fittings are supplied, and the same goes for all of our vacuums that would go to the wastegate, to the fuel pressure regulator, and to the blow off valve. And then if you've got any others, you can put them in there. If not, you get the blanks. Right, let's get it fitted. Okay, so as we prepare to get on it, here's a little before. Right, inlet manifold off. Let's spot the difference, shall we? Well, what's the first thing you notice? Well, is it the large port to the small port? Is it the large port runners compared to the small port runners? Is it the shorter runners compared to the longer runners? Meaning that this plenum is so much bigger than this one, meaning that the air has got more chance of being given to all 4 cylinders compared to the stock version, which is kind of more angled at 3 and 4 cylinder. Now, of course, this is supposed to be a like for like drop in, and the first thing I noticed is, I mean, admittedly it's not tight yet, but look at the gap between the throttle body flange and the actual boost pipe. Now, if you look how big the throttle body is, there's not much room to fit that in. Now, of course, maybe on a Passat it'll bolt straight on. For me, it's just a case of sliding this T-piece further down the boost pipe. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, so basically just test fitted. I've not even bolted the SPA turbo manifold up yet. I've still got to put the throttle body on. Just having a look, making sure that the fuel rail fits. I've chucked a couple of old injectors in just to give me kind of like the idea of the gapping. Now, when you get this fuel rail, you get with blanks. So it's up to you to buy 2 needed that. Good. I'm glad that dropped out. It's up to you to buy 2 ORB fitting, and either whatever size you need. I'm using -8 at the moment. So now has come the time to fit all my fittings, essentially. We've got, for the brake servo, to go here. We've got my inlet temperature sensor, goes there. And then I've got 5 different ports, depending on what sort of boost control you've got. You get 3 barbed to go in here, and you get a couple of blanks as well. This all comes with the SPA turbo kit. So, of course, we've got wastegate, we've got fuel pressure regulator, and we have got ECU. And then the other 2 will be blocked off. So I'll probably go 1, 2, and 3, give them a nice little gap. They are basically on the right-hand side of the engine, so that's perfect. So I don't think I'm going to have to extend my silicone hoses at all. So this is going to be pretty good. So I'll get this made up, and then, of course, throttle body off the old manifold, bolts straight onto there. There we go, spot on. So, 3 boost pipe to take off, my brake servo, and inlet temperature sensor. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that back onto the car, and then work out the best way to clock the throttle body. Custom Bro comes into play. Now, of course, there's a bit of a difference there. It's quite a bit higher. Right, so hopefully it's the final time this will go on now. I've put the brackets onto the fuel rail just so I didn't cross thread those, because I was scared of that, and I know I can find the hole in the head the hole in the inlet manifold a lot easier. I've put my 034 Motorsport adapter on the side here, and I've got that to fit perfect. So I've got the back blanked there and also at the bottom there. And then what I will do is, for now, I'm going to put the standard fuel pressure regulator in there. Okay, so injectors in, drop straight into the manifold. A couple of little bolts, really easy to put the fuel rail on. It's looking nice. Now all I've got to do is put me ORB fitting -8 on this side, which I've already done. This one I'm going to change because the setup I had here does not quite work. I'm not happy with it. So I'm going to change this out for an ORB-8, and we'll just extend the fuel pressure regulator just by a couple of centimetres, and it will clear the cylinder head. Well, the good news is I smell no E85. Nothing's leaked. That means we're good to go. So the only adjustment I'm going to have to do for this inlet manifold, as we said, is just we have to cut this pipe off here for the intercooler today, and Lee's going to have to remake a different top to fit, just to connect to that. As I said, if you had a Passat or an Audi A4, this would probably fit perfectly, like for like swap. More than likely there's a silicone hose coming off here which you can quite easily adjust, but of course mine is a custom drag setup on the Mark V Golf, so different car, different parts, just requires a little bit of modification, but that's no issue. We'll get that done today. So as you saw earlier, the only thing I really had to change, of course, as I said at the start of the video, it's a stock bolt-on manifold for the VW Passat. But looking at the VW Passat, you have the throttle body on the inlet manifold, and then it is a silicone or rubber pipe that comes off. Now, of course, for mine, it's a custom setup, so I have had to adjust it and put a little aluminium cheese wedge in there. But if you are putting this on your Passat or A4, then you would just bolt the throttle body to the inlet manifold, and it literally is a direct bolt on. The only thing you'll probably do is change a silicone hose for the normal one. But yeah. So back from a weekend at Santipod Raceway, tested a couple of runs with the inlet manifold on, but also we tested with a brand new bonnet. We did gain 7 miles an hour over the quarter mile. We went from 113 to 120 on 10 psi of boost, which is basically nothing, almost normally aspirated, some might say, but obviously we don't know if it's that or that. But either way, the engine was a lot smoother, throttle response was good. We're going to go test again in 3 weeks time, and then at some point we're going to get it onto the dyno. But the problem is I'm leading the VW Pro Championship at the moment, so we really don't want to take it to the dyno and adjust really anything, because I do bracket racing. I've got my 11.6 dial, so later testing for the SBA turbo manifold will come at the end of the season probably. We'll actually put some boost through it, but for the moment my review is it is a lovely direct bolt-on item. The fuel rail drops straight in, the mounts are perfect. Depending on how you want to do your fuel fittings, of course you can do barbed, or as I've done, ORB fittings and done my fuel setup. All depends what you've got. Everything in the kit was there, it was perfect. For a bolt-on kit, it is fantastic value. You're not going to find the SEM Motorsport inlet manifold. If you do, they're going to be expensive. The P Motorsport one is lovely. It looks lovely. My only issue with it was the runners were still extremely long and the plenum was really small. This one, the runners are really fat because it's a large sport. They're short and the plenum is huge. And I think this is For the price it is, you cannot beat this inlet manifold if you've got a longitudinal engine, or if you want to use it on a custom setup like mine. But yeah, once again, if you've liked this video, please do subscribe. I will do a couple of product reviews, but you're not really going to get them from me because I'm just bolting them on and racing with them. But if someone comes along and they're looking on the internet at what inlet manifold they should use, then hopefully this video has helped you. Again, just like, subscribe and comment. Follow the racing that we've got with the Don. That'd be really good if you like your 20 valve turbo racing. We will turn it up at some point, but this year is all about the VW DLC Championship. Don't forget, VW DLC TV. You can find us. That's where we race. All right, thank you very much for watching. See you on the next video.